Famously, C.S. Lewis has been quoted to have said the following words. He said that God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Now, I want to extrapolate from that quote something to do with our potential. That at times when we are alive, our potential whispers, speaks to our conscience, but all along we hear absolutely nothing about it until the day that we are dying, alright? When we realize that we are in the process of death, that our days are numbered, then that's when the potential that we had becomes a megaphone, starts shouting to us. And it's doing that in the form of regrets. We are the ones actually regretting that I had the time, I had the money, I had the opportunities, I had the networks, I had the motive, but I did not prioritize my potential. Today in the episode, I want us to continue talking about reasons as to why people don't deploy their potential. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So you've got to ask yourself, why is it that we take the potential that we have so lightly? It's like familiarity breeds contempt. It's there, it's always been there, we're carrying it with us all along, but we don't delve into it, we don't exploit it. Kind of like, when you realize later on that a country that has been impoverished has all the while had natural and national resources. An impoverished country has all along had silver and gold in the mines, has all along had oil unexploited in the mines. You're talking about a country? Let me tell you, the most potent thing about creation is the human being. And the human being, there isn't anyone that exists that doesn't have potential. All of us have got potential. But then, the most sinister thing about us is the ignoring that we do with that potential. As in, sometimes we even know it's there. And I know yesterday I talked about ignorance, but we know it's there. We can feel it, we can sense it. Other people can even point it out. They can tell you that there's something about it, there's something special about you, but we ignore. And there are very many reasons as to why we ignore that, and I've been talking about that in the previous episodes. The first reason we said it's status quo. We are equipped to walk into a status quo that dictates things other than potential. Potential, if you follow your potential, is just by the way, but it is not in the mainstream. The status quo dictates something else, and the something else that the status quo dictates, it wants everyone to have it. It wants everyone to be qualified. It wants everyone to have a degree, wants everyone to have a master's and so on. And these things keep increasing. And in the process of doing all that stuff, people do not get to monetize, get to deploy, get to own their own potential. They ignore it. If at all they will delve into it. I did the same thing, by the way. I knew I had the potential to write at a very young age 11, age 9, 10, 11 there. I loved words, I loved reading, I loved writing. And what did I do with that potential? Celebrated it for 1 year while whatever was lasting, while the competitions were lasting. and then it was just put on the back burner. I retreated back to the status quo to follow what the status quo dictates. You've got to study economics and mathematics and accounting and agriculture and Christian religious education and geography and history and civics and biology and chemistry. That's what the status quo dictated for me. So that's one reason as why very many people who are talented, and by the way, did you know some guys who are talented, they do not even need the status quo. You just go straight away into excavating the potential because it is that obvious. Now the problem is when the potential is not obvious, we go to the status quo. But when the potential is obvious, even when the potential is obvious, you see someone who can kick a ball and he's just running rings around people in the football field. What do? You force him. He's got to have a GPA, scores, GPA scores and all those things. Got to go through school. I know literacy is important, reading and writing is important, but what does that have to do with me playing when I'm tightly gifted and rightly gifted and potential is obvious? So one reason as to why people do not do that is status quo. Is a big reason. And the second reason as to why people do not pursue their potential is simply because they are lacking in purpose. They don't have purpose in their lives. They don't have direction. They don't have urgency. They don't have the dedication to something greater than themselves that they are pursuing in life. Why? Because if you pursue purpose, you're going to need your potential. You're going to need the capacity to pursue the purpose. And the capacity has been, whoever gave you purpose also gave you the capacity to fulfill it. It doesn't give you purpose without giving you the capacity. And the capacity is found in your potential. So if you do not clarify what your purpose in life is, chances are that you're living subservient of your real glory in life. And chances are that you will not fulfill the potential that God has put inside of you because you are what? Purposeless. And the third reason we talked about yesterday is the ignorance, complete ignorance. And the ignorance is basically, I said yesterday that we have very many things that we can know. In fact, this generation is exposed to as much information as possible. At the click of a button, thousands upon thousands of websites will be open when you ask just about anything, whether they are fake or they are real. We have no problem getting information, but we are ignorant as a generation, ignorant of our potential, ignorant of our purpose. And that's why we don't excavate that potential and that purpose. But today I want to discuss something simple that is making people not to deploy their purpose. And this one has to do with something spiritual. Are you ready for this? The reason as to why people do not deploy their purpose and in turn excavate their potential is godlessness. They don't acknowledge the divine. They don't acknowledge the supreme being. And I know that splits hairs because I know of people who are very godless, but yet they are exploiting their potential. But I also know of people who are not exploiting their potential because they are godless. I have seen very many godless people do great things in life and exploiting their God-given potential. And on the same token, I have also seen those who consider themselves spiritual and godly live way below their privileges and thus dull the potential that God has put inside of them. And those fall in the category of lack of purpose or ignorance. It just cuts both ways. However, listen to this. At the heart of the misuse or disuse of potential is a godless heart. Something that doesn't acknowledge that there is a responsibility that has been assigned to you by the divine, and therefore what is your purpose for living is that you should be able to deploy it and therefore bless this world and transform this world. That this world is actually requiring of you, requiring of your expertise, requiring of your gift and your talent, requiring of your contribution. A godless heart doesn't see that. A godless heart just sees getting and getting and getting, and the more you get, the less the potential is being excavated. See, it is easy to go on a tangent here and do things directly opposite to what God placed inside of your heart because you care less about God anyway. And godlessness has an element of rebellion inside of it. Alright? So you find that guys just do not want to accede to the fact that there is a higher being. And I know this is super spiritual as it gets. But then, in doing so, they leave their potential in a lull. Those who know that one day they will give an account of all the gifts and all the talents To whom much is given, much will be required. That's what the scriptures tell us. If you're given a potential to sing, why were you given that potential? Why were you given the potential to write? Why were you given the ability and the capacity to do those things, to do mathematics and to do athletics? To whom much is given, much is going to be required. And this does not just mean about scripture and about religion and about grace and about love and about, the word. It means anything that has been given to you that you did not come here on earth with, that it was given to you, did not acquire by yourself. To whom much is given, much is required. Much is going to be asked of you. Opportunities given to you, much is going to be required of those opportunities. Gifts and talents given to you, much is going to be required about them. But if you do not acknowledge that these things are going to be required of you, if you're godless, so to speak, you will not care a hoof about them. You will leave the gifts and the talents just pending, and so on and so forth. And that's the biggest problem that we have. One of the biggest problems that we have in humanity today is godlessness. And godlessness doesn't lead many people to excavating their potential. It doesn't hold people accountable. In fact, it's a rebellion against the Godhead, saying that there is no God. I live my own life. I came from a newt. I live my own life. I don't care about this godly stuff. I have no one to account to at the end of the day. This thing about playing, this gift I have about playing, I've got no business accounting it to anyone. I'm just going to evaporate and expire at the end of the day. Godlessness. But the opposite is also true, because the person or the man, the woman who knows for sure that I have been given this gift, I've been given this talent so that I can be a blessing to this world, and it's been given to me as a seed. And my job is to cultivate and to put that seed in the ground and to give it the most conducive environment in which it can grow. My job is to expend all my energies and work as hard as I can on that gift, on that talent, because I know for sure it is not necessarily mine. I am a steward of that gift. I am a steward of that talent. And so they live under the spirit of stewardship, knowing that they're supposed to give an account at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this to warn you and to scare you and so on and so forth. It is logical that if I create a phone, a Nokia phone, for example, I expect it to do some particular things. If I create a vehicle, a Lexus, and I put the speedometer to 340, I expect it to run that way. So if you find someone driving a Lexus at 30 kilometers per hour all its life, it's a useless kind of a thing. And that's exactly what people are doing in life. People are living at 30 miles per hour, and they were created to live at 160 miles per hour. Why? Because they don't recognize the fact that there's someone in the divine who gave them what they're supposed to use in terms of their potential, and they're going to report back to them. This reporting back, friends, it's just giving an account that this is the potential I was given. On a scale of 1 to 10, I have been able to exploit 7. And by the way, if you do 7, you're actually a world changer. 7 and above, you are a serious world changer if you're exploiting that potential that way. So we're going to give an account at the end of the day. See, life, we were not brought here on this earth just to be cozy and to make it, so to speak. Just to be cozy and to be comfortable. There is nothing wrong with being comfortable. There's nothing wrong with acquiring stuff. But that's not the priority in life. The priority is to become the best versions of ourselves, exploit our fullest potential, and make a contribution on the face of the earth. That's why we are here. It's that simple. It's that direct. And we came from the divine. So if you have godlessness running inside of you, chances are that you will not exploit your potential. I know that's controversial, but it has a point. Tomorrow we're going to discuss something else, but until then, bye-bye. A special shout out to my mentor Jeffrey Howard of Visionary Business University, found at mastermindmentor.com, who has graciously provided me with the soundtrack and the introductory track to this podcast. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.